Are we live? Oh, we are. That was quick. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm Therese Calvert, and if you don't know me, I've got a blog called Lost in Paper, and I love to make cards, probably like a lot of you do. And I have a card from the technique that I was using. It was using embossing folders, but it's a really easy embossing folder technique. I'll just show you the cards. Oh, I've got a question already. That's wonderful. Helen's asking, what are your thoughts on adding the white ink to the embossing folder before embossing the cardstock? Well, I'll show you the card that I made. I'm just trying, my cat's just right beside me, aren't you? In the road, exactly where my mouse may get it? Cat and mouse. Okay, so this is the cards that these are the cards that I shared during the lesson today. Hopefully you've seen it. So you guys have had all day to watch it because it went live at 9 this morning and it's now 6 o'clock in the morning for me. So, but Helen was asking, so what I did was basically did a 3D embossed image just using like a normal 3D folder. Oh, thank you. Thanks for moving out of my road. Like this, embossed a panel, added some white ink just by tapping. This is if you haven't seen the video. And then she's just wondering if we could have added the ink to the embossing folder. And you can, that's a technique all on its own. So what she's talking about is, and you can do it two ways. So you can add your ink either to the negative side of an embossing folder or the raised or the positive side. Pop your paper in there very gently, try not to move it, close it and run it through your die cutting machine to add pressure to push the ink onto the cardstock. And it's going to give you two different looks just by doing this. It's either going to give you the white ink or whatever color ink, because you can use this on white cardstock to do this particular technique that Helen's talking about. You can do this on just basic cardstock. Add the ink. And if you put it on the flat side, then you're going to get the impression of the ink is going to be around and give you that, the positive, the embossed picture won't have any ink on it, or the reverse where you'll have it more like this. You'll have the ink on the image. I don't think you could possibly get the ink as thick as this version that I've used today in the tutorial of the class. So be worth giving it a go though and just seeing how different it looks on the design paper, because that's the other way that things got changed up here, is the fact that we didn't just emboss on regular cardstock, we actually used some design paper here. And that is like I used, you could use anything, any design papers that you have. You could even use some paper that you've added your own design onto, whether it just be some ink blending, some color, like some smooshing, maybe some ink, you know, the inky techniques like this. So, but I've just used paper pads. I like, actually, probably not going to see I think the ones that, I don't remember, I think the ones that I used were the big, the 12 by 12. And the reason I chose these is they have a looser pattern. Is that a word? I think that is a word. Looser than, like, say, these smaller ones here that have like a tighter pattern. But you could definitely, these would look amazing with this technique as well. Oh, what's this? I've got another question, sorry. Jules Craft is asking, love your style, thank you very much. I'm making a get well card for a neighbour using the 3D folder with white ink. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you're going to do that. It's a lot of fun. And it's a really easy technique. It's a great way to stretch your embossing folders. But what I wanted to talk about, and I do this in the tutorial, is how you can just step it up a little bit, because I've done this technique before. I was inspired by a lovely another Australian paper crafter. Her name is Jo Simons, and you can find her. She's got a video, and I did ask her permission if I could use her technique and sort of build on it. But my cards, like, it's a very similar technique because you're just doing something so easy. You're really changing it up by using the cardstock, the design papers that you choose. You could use a different color ink, and I'd talk about other ways to step it up as well. But you can find her at Crafted with Love and Roses, and she's got some amazing videos too. So if you're inspired and you want more ideas, head there. But today's class, I shared 2 cards because I stepped it up and I used, I don't know if you can see this one. This is, you don't have to do that part, but can you see there's actually some really fine glitter? I know, for all your glitter phobes. There's actually some really fine glitter, which I would never have done, and that's something that Jo inspired me to do. And I've got glitter here that I've had for, I'd hate to say how long, and it'd be at least 10 years. I don't use it a lot, so it's good to get it out and use it. But this one I changed it up. I use a different style folder, and it's more of a graphic design. I've only really done the floral embossing folders before this. So and this time I added some like really fine gold glitter, so it's actually got a little bit of color to the glitter as well. Now, Carlos is a question: would it work to use a glittery embossing powder so it wouldn't fall off? You can, and another way that you could add the glitter is to use, like, say, a clear glitter gel, you know, the ones that have I got one near here? No. But you could just sponge some lightly over top if you wanted to do it that way. You could also use like stickles, which is the little bottles of liquid glitter. You could even just put some on, you know, if you are a bit of a glitter phobe and you don't want to go sprinkling, you could put some on on your finger and just rub it over top, and that will dry. I would definitely wait for your pigment ink, because that's the other thing. The other tip here is you do need to use a pigment ink. There's a lot of them around. And this is the one I used. I used the Unicorn White pigment ink. And you do need to make sure that it's a nice, juicy ink pad. So typically with pigment inks, I do like to get the refills, which is just a bottle of the same ink, liquid form, and you can just top up your ink pads with them. The dye inks you don't tend to have as much issue with them drying out so quick. So I won't normally buy the refills for the dye ink until I need them. And with the pigment inks, I do, especially the white ones. But I definitely do that. But I was just going to show a couple of other panels I made, and I know some people were saying that they struggle to get the ink where they want it. And I get that, because you're talking about patterns and you've got this huge flat space here. So you could, if you are having trouble getting the ink where you want it, you could use like a stencil brush or something, so you can be a little bit more specific about where you add the ink and how much you're adding. But I think for me, I just did some practice pieces. And like, this isn't perfect. There is areas here with very little ink coverage, and there's areas here that are on the flat surface that have, it's hard to see, I know, but there is actually some ink getting on the outside portions. So don't overthink it, is what I'm trying to say. And don't over add, because you can always come back and add a little bit more if you think you need to. Or you can cut the panel down and do something like this. So say you muck up the edge or whatever, just cut it down, and then you can just do like a smaller panel onto a cardstock. Use the piece that you're most happy with and just practice really. And it's design paper, so every piece is going to look different unless you're using exactly the same. You've got like multiples of the same design, especially this one. It's very organic. But these are just some other ones that I've done. It's a really pretty technique and it's so easy. And this is the same design paper, but without the glitter. So it does just sort of change it up. And if you watched my video already today, you probably saw that I made 3 panels, but I didn't share 3 cards. And this is the 3rd panel that I made. I got a lot of Ultra New stuff because I've been on their design team since 2015. So I do love their florals and everything. But this one wasn't an Ultra New one. It was actually Lisa Horton. And I don't even think it's available because it was like a limited edition. Like this was their May. You had to buy like 12 months worth of embossing folders, I think. But it's a beautiful big embossing folder, that one. So I wanted to show it doesn't have to be just a portion of the card front. It can be the whole card front. But this one, I came in after the white ink had dried. So I set aside, it's really good, just smash out a heap of panels of embossed images, like 3D embossed images, cover them with your pigment ink, set them aside to dry all at once. It's much easier because you do need to allow, I think I left these for a couple of hours because I went and did like a Zumba class or something and came back and they were completely dry. But this one here, I changed it up by coming in with a second pigment ink, and it's like a platinum or a rose gold. Can you see? So and I haven't touched it on as hard as I didn't go as deep. I didn't pat it. I shouldn't say hard because when you do add the ink, one of the tips is don't press too hard. I didn't add as much of that. I just more added it on the tips of the roses and leaves. So it does give a different look. But I'd definitely wait for that to dry. Oh, there's a question. Sorry, I've been babbling. Therese is asking, I never had much success because I didn't realize they had to be 3D folders. I'm excited to try this technique again with the 3D folders. That is the game changer because I don't even think I have any regular, the old style embossing folders anymore, but the raised image it just doesn't have enough depth for you to be able to add the ink without getting it all over the flat portions of the paper, because you're wanting to make the image pop by just adding the ink to the raised portions. And the old style 2D, I don't know, are they called 2D? I don't know. The other embossing folders, they don't sit as high. So unless you're, it would be very difficult to do. But it doesn't have to be flowers. I love the flowers, but it doesn't have to be the flowers. That's why I've tried the other version. These are my original ones that are very similar. You can just change up colors. And the good thing is I like to pre-cut the size that I want here. That's a magnolia one. So they look different but similar. I like to pre-cut my cardstock or design paper, and that way when I'm putting it in the folder, whichever folder I choose, I can, I'm going to show you, this one's open. I can just, it's probably hard to see, isn't it? It's going to be easier to see with coloured cardstock. Yes, so that way I can choose what portion of the design I want where on my cardstock. Or I could do the whole lot on this one. It's huge. I think does that make sense? You're not just limited to using these embossing folders like one way. If you've cut your cardstock to where you want, like to the size that you want, you can almost see what the image is going to look like before. The other, like, just have a look and see what 3D embossing folders, if you've got some already, and they're not, in the scheme of paper crafting, they're not, they're one of our more affordable supplies, but you can do so much with them. Like the techniques that we can do with these are incredible. I was thinking this one would be a really good one to do like a Christmassy version in some icy blues, and that, and add the sparkle to that as well. I even think this one would be worth giving a try. It's just a lot of fun. What else? If you have embossing folders, there's like, you can do so much with them. This one here is this folder. It's the same one as this here. Can you see? I've actually used the debossed side, and I've smeared it with some relief paste. This is as mixed media as I get. I don't have Erin's magic. Deborah's got a question. Did you say you have to use a pigment ink? For this technique, I would definitely choose a pigment ink over anything else. And the main reason why is a pigment ink sits on top of the cardstock, whereas a dye ink, it actually seeps into the cardstock and dyes the fibers of the paper. So you could definitely try with whatever inks that you've got. You are going to get a different look, but if you're wanting this sort of look, then I definitely would opt for a pigment ink. And a white pigment ink is really versatile. You can use it for a lot of different techniques. It's really good to, if you've got stencils, you can use white pigment ink to create like a snowy background or snowflakes, and you can mix it well with your dye inks. I don't own a lot of pigment inks. I typically just have white, definitely black. I use black pigment ink all the time. Maybe a grey, like a light grey, and like the metallics. They're the ones that I'll have. So Therese is asking, the black and white sentiment strips, are you talking about these ones here, Therese? I presume that's, it's going to be, is it that one? Yeah, I think it is. So this is Concord 9th, and it's a really good little sentiment set, actually. And I recently did a video where I showed, because you can bet your bottom dollar, you don't have to buy the coordinating die to go with this. You could just buy this and cut it down yourself. But these coordinating dies, they line up, but they don't line up. So I did a video where I showed how I got away with that. But basically, die cut it twice is how you do it. I can't remember which one is that attached to, which video I did recently. But yeah, it's a really nice set, isn't it? It's got some really nice sentiments too. It's a good everyday one. I like the ones with the borders. What else was I going to tell you? I had, this is more ideas for 3D embossing folders. If you do have the coordinating stencils for colouring stencils, this one I just use one layer of the colouring stencil, but that's just a 3D embossing folder technique you can do. Or if you don't have the stencils, other things I've done, I've just got alcohol markers and use the petals and leaves and just added my colouring lightly, and that looks really pretty as well. And they're really good to add like a quick background. Can you see? It's hard to see, isn't it? Run that through the embossing folder, added a quick swipe of ink blending with a large ink blending tool, and then it just gives a subtle background to pop your design. Another question from Barb. Do you have any ideas for an alternative to hairspray when setting the glitter? Yeah, you can use, sorry, listen to my English. Yes, you can. You don't really have to use the hairspray. You can get away without it. It will dry as long as you've got plenty of time just to set it aside. The other thing you can use is, those matte setting sprays for art. I've used them before, but they smell worse than hairspray. I would definitely do that one outside. But that is something you can do. But if you're averse to either of those, as long as you've got enough pigment ink on, something that's going to catch the glitter and hold it, if you set it aside to dry, it will ultimately hold. Like that's not shifting, but I'm sure this one would, because this is a larger glitter. Yeah, it's pretty though. Any other questions at the moment? What else was I going to say? Oh, the other thing that I had, hopefully you grabbed it. I have a freebie attached to my video. I think the link you'll find is just below the video, usually. And it's just to give you more inspiration for using 3D embossing folders, because, we've already outlaid the money. We've got the folder. It's great to be able to use the same supply, get different looks completely, and try different ideas. So I've included digital, it's a download PDF to give you 5 must-try ideas for 3D embossing folders. So I've chosen some of my favorite ways to use embossing folders all in one spot, and I've even linked some videos showing and sharing how to do that as well. So make sure you grab that. And if you could even do, like, some of these techniques you could even do with a regular embossing folder if you don't have the 3D, because there's lots of tips and tricks in there. Now, there was a question. Oh no, we did answer that one at the beginning, didn't we? Kathy wants to know where to get the tutorials. So do you mean for me, if you want to find, I've got a YouTube channel. So if you're a visual kind of person, head to my YouTube channel. If there's something specific that you want to look at or learn about, I've got plenty of playlists there, or you can just use the little search icon in my YouTube channel, type down embossing folder or whatever, colouring, anything. Like I kind of do a bit of everything. But and then you can find either the playlist that you're interested in to learn. So there'll be lots of different stuff there. Otherwise, head to my blog, which is also lostinpaper.com. And I actually give a lot of tips on my, so if, some people just don't want to sit there and watch a whole video just to find out that one or two things that you kind of the tips that you want. So a lot of my blog posts nowadays have tips and how-tos and ideas, so you can just click in there and find it. I have like a freebie and a class page. I'm working on it at the moment. I'm adding some more classes at the moment, but so if there is any classes or anything that you want me to add, please let me know and I can do that. But that is linked across the top of my blog as well. I don't know if that answered your questions. Oh, it's time to wrap things up. Oh, that went really quickly. Any last minute questions before I go? Anyone join me at Craft Roulette for World Card Making Day? I had such fun there. I'm going back on Craft Roulette soon, so I will send out an email. If you grab my freebie, you'll join my email list and you'll find out. I'll give you reminders of when I'm going live for that, and when my videos come up, you'll get a reminder for that as well. So no other questions. Thank you very much. I'm so glad that you joined me today. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, so I've got a bit of catch up to do. I need to go back and watch the day's chat in the Facebook group. Make sure to tag me, please, if you are inspired to try this technique with me, because I want to see how you're inspired and the different ways that you can make this technique work for you. So thank you so very much. I look forward to seeing you at the rest of the summit. Have a great day or night. Bye. Is that right?